Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to have the opportunity to present our paper at this conference. My name is Jia Yulin. I'm a graduate student from Xiamen University. Today, I would like to present our paper, Using a Social Robot for Children with Autism, a therapist robot interacting model. Previous studies have shown many advantages and potential of using social robot in training for children with autism and provides many design guidelines. However, we found that most of the current studies only taught specific skills to children with autism under laboratory settings. Besides, few studies have attempt to incorporate this type of robot into an established treatment paradigm, such as discrete child training. So there's a large gap between theoretical research and practical application. In our work, we aim to investigate the use and effectiveness of social robots for children with autism in their daily training. Our goal is to design a social robot and propose an interaction model which is based on children's characteristics and learning skills to socially interact with children with autism and teach them social skills in the context of daily training. Our design of social robots, including physical appearance design, the robot's role, and an interaction model, are based on 6 design factors. These factors consider the social content of the robot and help to build the personality framework of the robot. Accordingly, we designed Young, a lamp-shaped desktop robot coated with plush material. We chose this appearance because this character is familiar to children, and soft materials are preferred by children due to the tactile experience. During the interactions, Young has reached master to interact socially with children, and plays 3 roles to engage in the training. In daily social interaction, the robot acts as a good buddy with children with autism, interacting socially with them and providing social support. During skill learning, Young acts as a teaching assistant, cooperating with therapists to teach children with autism social skills. Also, Young can perform role-playing, and it is able to switch roles between different ages, genders, jobs, and personalities in order to help children to generalize their abilities through an extended simulation environment. Our interaction model, Child Model, includes 3 parts: daily social interaction with children, discrete child training in Child Model, and generalization. As I mentioned, the robot plays the roles of the child's body. During the daily social interaction, the child can have conversational interaction with Young. Also, through verbal guidance, autistic child can also have some physical interaction with Young, such as hugging, head touching, and so on. In the process of skill learning, we incorporated Young into discrete child training methods. DTT divides the teaching into many small, repetitive, and behaviorally based instruction routine trials. Each discrete trial may be repeated several times in succession until the skill is mastered by the children. During DTT teaching, at first, the therapist needs to have the child's attention. Then, the therapist provides stimulus to the child and waits for the response. If the child responds correctly, the therapist delivers positive reinforcers. If the child responds incorrectly, the therapist then corrects him by prompting him to respond correctly and restart the child. In traditional DTT, therapists usually use paper cards and toys as training stimuli. With the robot engaging in the DTT, the robot provides 2 types of stimuli: descriptive stimuli and the associated multimedia stimuli. For example, when the child is having a nature STEM interaction, The robot can not only describe what the nature scene is like in words, but also present the animations and play the sound of the environment. Prompting is an effective practice to increase the acquisition and generalization of target skills or behavior for children with autism in traditional DTT. The therapists help child respond correctly through verbal, gesture, or visual prompts, while during the robot-assisted trials, the robot can observe and analyze the child in real time. For example, the robot can monitor whether the child has selected the correct option on the robot screen. Also, the robot can provide vivid multimedia expression to assist the therapist complete the necessary prompt combination. For example, the robot can show highlights in the interactive elements or tell the child some hints. Therefore, the robot can help with the therapist when it is needed and share responsibility with the therapist. In traditional DTT, positive reinforcers need to be provided to the child to increase the likelihood that a child obtains the target skill or behavior. When using Yang in the child model during the DTT treatment, the robot can present audio-visual effects as a reinforcer. For example, the robot can present the animation related to the interaction content. Also, multimedia reinforcers such as touchable screen and varied appearance can catch a child's attention and become a more powerful positive reinforcer. After a child can perform acquired skills in the DTT program, the therapists need to train them to utilize these new skills in other settings and with other people. So we program Yang to deliver a generalization session after each successful child. Yang can take various roles in different scenarios in a session and can present examples using different people, setting, objects, behavior, or any other relevant aspects. For example, the robot can play as a boy, a male police officer, or female nurse to interact with the child in different generalization sessions. The generalization training conducted by the robot after the successful DTT trial can help children quickly consolidate their skill and reduce the burden of the therapist. To evaluate child model, we designed a cloud-based system to support the implementation. The front-end devices are Yang and its related cameras. The modules in the cloud are used for processing interaction strategies, as I described before, and sending teaching content to Yang. Also, we developed a robot control mobile application, so the therapist can control Yang to adjust the teaching process and deal with sudden situations. Now, let's watch a video of our robot interaction system.
喂，你好，我们又见面啦。你可以捏一捏我的耳朵。
浩辰，你好呀。来，你再来摸一摸我的鼻子。好痒啊！啊嚏！博文，和我挥挥手好吗？哇，博文和我挥手啦！来摸摸我，是不是毛茸茸的？好。
的原型。哇，很棒！你们来。 应该是太阳也是黄灯说法。这样的说法。哦，这样大车，是不是？哦，你做的对。来，还有，啊啾，可以呀。你要说什么？啊啾。是。可以捏一捏我的耳朵。吃薯片。哎呦，好疼啊！请问发生了什么事吗？对，看着着火了。水多一点吗？是哪里着火了呀？这里呀。说到。
We recruited 3 autistic children to participate in our experiment. Based on their abilities, characteristics, behavior traits, and short-term training plan, we tailored the training content to each child's preference. C1's training task was to understand the concept of big and small. C2's training task was to recognize animal sounds, and C3's task was to match corresponding objects in a conversation. For the procedure of our experiment, firstly, we interviewed the therapist to know each child's personal information. And then, before the formal experiment, we conducted a 2-week pilot study to test the robot's feasibility and ease of use. And for the formal experiment, we used single-subject design. This design includes baseline, robot-assisted training, and follow-up phases. In addition, at the end of each week, we conducted 20 minutes semi-structured interviews with each therapist and supervisor to ask them about their experience and whether they thought the robots would be beneficial for children. We collected our data from 2 data sources. One was from the behavior coding based on the video recording made during the experiment. We analyzed children's behavior from 4 aspects: skill improvement, social behavior, duration of concentration, and instruction responsiveness. Another data source was from semi-structured interviews we conducted with the therapists and supervisors. The results of children's skill improvement show that all 3 children's correct responses significantly improved from baseline to follow-up. And these figures show all 3 children's social interactions show upward trend. For children's duration of concentration, C1 and C3's duration of no concentration are very small proportion of the total time, and C2, whose therapist reported before our experiments that he was a child with weak concentration. He couldn't concentrate on one task for more than 100 seconds in a session, but his concentration time increased rapidly in session 2 and kept in high level in the following sessions. We also found that children's instruction responsiveness to the instruction of both young and therapists greatly improved. The experimental results show that the tri-model improved children's skill learning, social interaction, and engagement level. Except for that, therapists and supervisors evaluate that the robot extended the teaching materials, reduces their vocal instruction and prompts during the teaching, and made teaching easier. They also gave suggestions for the future design of the robot. In this paper, we explore how a social robot could facilitate a therapist's daily training for children with autism. For future research, we will further expand the social robot interaction model, as well as improving the robot's multimodal analysis and cognitive computing ability.